Hi guys! So, finally, we are here to talk about the Monster High 2022 reboot. It's been a long time coming. These dolls have been circulating around, being bought, being unboxed for a few months now. Mattel was doing their best to pretend they didn't exist, and aside from the upcoming live-action movie, which this video is very much not about, there really wasn't any official announcement or promotion for Generation 3 of Monster High, but finally, we have an official announcement from Mattel. Stock images, everything I need to make a video over my thoughts on this reboot and the current direction of Monster High. I know I could have talked about these at pretty much any point, but I held off because I did want to be using stock images as references rather than other people's photos or unboxing videos. I've held off on buying any G3 dolls myself until I can find them in stores. Who knows when that will be. But also because it gave me time to really collect my thoughts and compile them into just one video. I didn't want to make a brand new video every time we got a look at another doll, you know? YouTube was already kind of being flooded with those, and I'm not like a news channel. I do videos over new releases, but they're usually just once a month, and I just really prefer doing that because I don't like when my videos get dated. I want people to have a reason to be able to come back to this video like months later and it still makes sense. And not that what anyone else was doing was wrong. Trust me, I watched and I loved all those update videos, but it's just not my style as a creator, if that makes sense. I've mentioned this a few times, but if you're curious, I've collected Monster High since 2010, since they first came out. I was 13 at the time. I bought hundreds of dolls over the years. They are, unfortunately, no longer with us for reasons I will not get into right now, but I had to kind of start over with doll collecting when I was in college, which, of course, was long after Monster High had ended. So to have the opportunity to start over with Monster High, to be there for the releases, and to go shopping for them in stores, it's so incredible. I'm so grateful for this reboot. But on to what people care about, the dolls. I think the best way for me to format this video is to just give my more general thoughts here at the start, just about Generation 3 in general, then go through each character and go more in-depth onto my thoughts on their G3 iterations. So, geez, where to start? I guess by saying my thoughts on the reboot are largely positive, and if you've been watching me for a while, that's probably not a surprise. I've been pretty optimistic about the reboot even before we ever saw the dolls. I was never as unhappy with it as some other people. Not even a fraction as some other people. Because for a while, it felt like you couldn't even breathe a positive word about G3 without getting hated for it. And I experienced that. I put out a video that's private now due to copyright reasons that I largely avoided giving my personal thoughts on the reboot and just discussing what would be changing, and yet even that resulted in some really terrible personal attacks. And when the voice cast for the upcoming animated series was announced, the voice actors were harassed and sent hate just for having their names attached to the series. And a lot of it doesn't even come from a place of like not liking what the reboot is doing. It's just being upset that it's different than when it was when they were kids, which obviously reboots happen. It's part of the toy industry. You don't have to like it, but if it upsets you so much that a doll line you probably haven't even thought about in half a decade is changing its characters, that you're willing to send hate to people, I don't know what to say except grow up. And if a person in their mid-20s who makes videos over fashion dolls is the one telling you to grow up, that should be your first clue you have a problem. But, that aside, I do like G3. I like it a lot, actually. I have some complaints, which obviously I'm going to get into, but Overall, I think this generation of Monster High has a lot of personality. I think it shows a lot of growth from G1, and it clearly has a team behind it that cares about it and values the spirit of Monster High. And all of that is what is most important to me. So on that level, it's doing everything that I want it to. Looking at the characters and seeing them all together, I think they just make sense. Like, these are such good evolutions of their G1 versions, and I don't think Mattel will ever be able to perfectly replicate what made the first generation of Monster High so iconic and special, especially with its creator no longer at the company. But for today's market and this next generation of consumers, I think these are doing a lot of things really well. Aesthetically, it's a lot more colorful, but it's still very identifiably Monster High. The faces aren't quite as, as severe as they were in G1. The dolls, they do look a bit younger, but they still look very nice. They're not quite those big cutesy eyes and smiles we got in G2. And I do like that some of them have like very slight smirks or subtle expressions. We still have different face molds, which is great. That's something that absolutely needed to be carried over from G1. The characters all look incredibly distinct from each other, arguably even more so than G1, because now we have different heights and body types, which is absolutely a plus. But also, all their outfits have very different silhouettes too. Something I honestly thought was always kind of a weak point for Monster High's launch. I think they found themselves with the Wave 2 Schools Out designs, but their signature outfits, they're great, they're iconic, but they all do look pretty similar. So I think it's really nice to have a wider variety of outfit pieces that really inject the characters' personalities into them. You can look at these dolls and know what their personality is, what their fashion style is. Are they going to be everyone's cup of tea? Probably not. I mean, that much should be obvious already. But the original Monster High was pretty divisive too. I think a lot of people forget that. It wasn't universally liked. A lot of doll collectors even kind of hated it at first because it was just so different from everything else. And usually when a doll line has this kind of extreme divisiveness, when it doesn't have a universal appeal, that tells me it's doing something right. The quality of the dolls, so far from what I've seen, is alright. It kind of ranges from surprisingly great to passable. My expectations based on other products that Mattel was putting out were not very high, and Monster High has never had exceptional quality. The dolls were usually well executed with the resources they had, but they didn't have a ton of resources to begin with. So, compared to some other dolls, Rainbow High, OMG, etc., they do leave a little to be desired when it comes to fabric quality and outfit execution. Even hair type too, it seems. But for me, as a collector, personally, I value interesting designs more than I do outfit quality, so I am able to excuse a lot more than some other people, I think. For their price point and the amount of things and different out pieces the dolls come with, I think the quality is fine. Not exceptional, but fine. So, for some things I don't like, the packaging, I don't love it. I feel like they should have at least attempted to replicate G1's original packaging. It's just kind of boring. And I understand G1's packaging was due to Garrett Sanders' background in package design, but I think they could have done something, more. Presentation is a place where it's easy to have fun with Monster High, so that aspect is just a little underwhelming. The art style. I know some people don't like it very much. I don't mind it. It's grown on me. I do think G1's art style was just so iconic. It was so fun to try and replicate and make fan art or original characters for. It was so distinct and recognizable. And this, it's not bad, but it's just not as fun. I could admit that. And it does bother me that the artwork, it doesn't match the actual dolls that well in a lot of cases. They more closely resemble the animation models we saw from the casting announcements. There's evidence that these dolls must have spent a long time in production and went through a lot of redesigns. So likely the artworks and the animation models are from an earlier draft of the dolls. I'm not sure. I also wish the bios were as long as G1's. They're quite short and they don't really tell us anything about the characters. The lack of diaries is also kind of disappointing. I just feel like that was such an integral part of the Monster High experience, you know? Buying the doll and learning all about her and really connecting with her. We are getting an animated series, so maybe that'll serve that purpose instead. And from what we've seen of it so far, it looks really cute. I'm excited for it. I'm not really going to talk about it in detail yet, because obviously it hasn't come out. But the voice cast is great, the animation is really good. I love the representation we're getting of non-binary characters, confirmed ethnicities, non-traditional families, disabilities, hopefully, etc. And overall, it looks like it's going to live up to the potential, so we'll see. And they're releasing little music videos for the characters too, which tell us about them. They're fine, but I think I would have preferred diaries. I just hope character and world building is something they can expand on in the future. There are some small details that are really cool, like each character having their own logo and everything. That's super cute, but I do want to see them take it a bit further. Okay, I think that's everything I can say about the brand in general for now. Obviously, it's still very early on. Some things I'm just gonna have to wait and see how they pan out, see how the line grows, and I am excited to see where it goes. So let's talk about the characters. I think I'm just gonna talk about the 8 ones we're getting at launch, from my least favorite to my favorite, because we love ranked lists, and it means I get to end on a good note. In last place, in 8th place, I think I'm gonna put Deuce Gorgon. And just to be clear, I still like this doll. I like them all, but there has to be a last place, and I give it to Deuce pretty much just because I'm not a huge fan of male dolls, and I get asked all the time why I'm not, and it's just that 90% of the time I find them pretty boring. I think Deuce here is a lot more interesting to me than a lot of his G1 dolls though. I love that his denim jacket actually looks like denim. I can't remember the last time Mattel put out a jacket that didn't just look like it was a denim texture printed on tissue paper. His outfit is cool, it's not bad at all. I love so much that they included an apron and a little cupcake for him. Deuce being a chef was such a nice personality trait that they just completely dropped very early on in G1, so I'm glad they're bringing it back. I also do love Deuce and Cleo as a couple, but I look forward to him getting some depth outside of just being Cleo's boyfriend. The snake motif is a little heavy-handed, and the fanny pack they gave him is just huge and looks too silly when he's wearing it. But overall, I think he looks good. I like this new Deuce a lot, but when it comes to my personal tastes and what I get excited for, it really does just come down to him being a man. I'm sorry, Deuce. And next, at number 7, oh, I'm probably gonna make some people mad with this one, but it's Claudine Wolf. And my complaints with this doll are probably pretty different from the reasons most people don't seem to like her. Like, for one, I don't mind that she wears glasses. Like, some people wear glasses. Glasses aren't a personality trait. It's fine. It's so funny to me that, like, from what we've seen, Claudine's personality is almost identical to how she was in G1. But for some reason, people see glasses and they're like, oh, they turned her into a shy, nerdy loser. Like, but that aside, I don't mind her outfit. I do think, like Deuce, it's just a bit too heavy-handed. And I know subtlety was never ever Monster High's strong suit, but she's got moons on her glasses, the moon phases on her overalls. Her belt is moons, a moon necklace, moon earrings. Her hairbrush is a moon. Her pet cat has a moon on her eye. Her cookie is a moon. I'm also not a fan of her hair. I think the top knot just looks a little bit silly with how it's tied, and the mix of colors is just... She has dark brown hair, then this very saturated purple, and also this very pale, almost silvery purple. It's like 3 completely different values, and I don't like how they mix. I don't like that her fur vest is a vest and not a full jacket. I don't like how it looks on her outfit. Okay, I know it sounds like I just hate this doll, but I don't. I do really like the base doll. Like, her face is so cute. I love the added wolf features. I love her big brown eyes and her freckles, and her makeup looks really cool too. To be clear, the actual doll's faces don't look entirely like the stock images I'm showing, so do make sure to watch unboxings and reviews to get a more accurate look at what's going to be on shelves. But from what I've seen, I really like her face. I just don't like her signature doll's outfit or the execution a ton. So I look forward to seeing where her future dolls go. I'll probably like them more, especially if they play around with her hair colors some more. She does have some very nice shoes though. Maybe some of the best shoes, which is another thing. The shoe game in G3 leaves something to be desired overall. They're just a bit simple across the board. Okay, at number 6, I'm going to put Toralei. And she's here for not really anything that is her fault. It's just everyone higher up I like more. Toralei's not doing anything wrong. I do like her outfit quite a bit. I do wish her hair was shorter like it was in the animation model, if for nothing else, just variety's sake. That's actually another complaint I have, just the lack of hair variety, particularly the lack of texture. You know, Mattel is pretty good at representing different hair textures and protective styles through Barbie. And even in G1, we had characters who had shorter or curlier hair, so that's definitely something that can be improved upon. But overall, I like her. I like her outfit. Her color scheme is really nice. I like that she has this subtle little smirk. It's interesting that she's a singer now, that she has a band. You know, in G1, Toralei was very much not a singer.
Toralei, gotta throw the crystal in the river. Gonna get a lot of money from Nefer.
But I'm curious if Meowdy and Persephone will come back, maybe as her bandmates. I'm curious where they'll take it. But yeah, I like her. She's giving everything that she needs to give. I just don't feel as strongly about her as I do some of the others. After Toralei, at number 5 is... I think I'm gonna put Ghoulia here. And I am so happy to see Ghoulia back. I'm happy that she's here in the very first assortment. And overall, I am pleasantly surprised. I was a little scared of how Ghoulia would look, I'm not going to lie. And it's just because Ghoulia's style and aesthetic in G1 was so unique and iconic, and she really was the only character that I didn't want to see a lot of changes to style-wise. But I do like what they did. I can very much imagine G1 Ghoulia in this, and it makes me excited to see what direction they'll take her character. I do like that she has a more greenish skin tone, actually. I think it makes her look so much more like a zombie. As for why she's on the lower half, it really just comes down to nitpicks. So the things I like her face. I love her jacket and the overall silhouette of her outfit, especially when she's wearing her beanie. The deep blue color of her hair is so pretty. Her accessories are cute, especially the Switch. Or, what is it in the Monster High universe? A Nintendo Witch? A kill switch? My biggest complaint is mainly the skirt. I don't hate it, but I can tell by looking at it that the material is really cheap. And when I first looked at it, I thought the green part was like a belt or maybe a strap or something. But no, when I looked closer, I saw that it was this weird stitched on zipper with this chunky molded plastic pull, and it doesn't look good at all. It doesn't look like it belongs on this skirt. I wish it was pants. Baggy jeans or even leggings would have looked better here, especially since Ghoulia wearing pants kind of set her apart from the other ghouls in the first assortment. I think some cargos or red jeans would have been a really nice callback, but even this skirt, I wouldn't mind so much. It was just executed a little better, but I look forward to seeing how her style evolves. In spot number 4, we're entering the upper half of the list. We have Cleo Denial. First thing, I love her redesign. I love that she has a lot more blue in her color scheme, because Cleos with a lot of blues were always my favorites in G1. And I'm about to say something that might be a little controversial, but this Cleo in particular, I honestly think she's better than a good portion of G1 Cleo dolls. Her accessories look good, her color scheme is great, I love her hair, her face, and makeup are just stunning. Her jacket with the fringe on the sleeves and the backpack, they're not my favorite pieces in the world, but they're very much optional and she looks fine without them. Otherwise, I think her accessories are so cute. And that kind of goes for everyone. I love that they come with all these little things, like Cleo's Canopic jar cup. That's so cool. And I haven't mentioned this yet either, but I love their personalized phone cases. I think phones were probably my favorite accessory in G1 because they were just so fun to play around with and pose and photograph. So the fact that everyone has their own personalized phone is so cool. She does have molded bandages on her body, which I'm honestly kind of apprehensive about. I know people tend to love the molded bandages, but when they did that in G2, it seemed like it was just so they didn't have to bother incorporating bandages into her outfits. It felt a little lazy to me, not gonna lie. So I do hope that's not what happens here. But I really just have one big complaint, and it's her shoes. I just think sandals would have looked a lot better with this outfit. The boots are just so clunky. They're not bad, like they look fine and they have some cool details, but this particular outfit, I don't know. I know it's a nitpick, but this is a ranked list, and unfortunately it is the shoes that keep Cleo from being in my top 3. Which, speaking of, for number 3, it's going to be Laguna Blue. To get one thing out of the way, I don't care that she's pink now. Like, that genuinely is so not an issue to me. People are just choosing the strangest things to fixate on when it comes to picking out things they don't like. Like, how can her name be Laguna Blue if she's pink? I'm sorry, did you think she was named after her skin color? But her doll, I really like it, obviously. I mean, she's pretty high up here in the rankings. Her forehead dots, her scales, I honestly didn't like them much at first. I thought she would be a lot lower in the rankings when I first saw them, but they've grown on me. I really don't mind them nearly as much now. We also need to talk about why they put her in the box in the stock image looking like this, doing her absolutely no favors. But I love Laguna. Her signature doll was the first Monster High doll I ever bought. She was my favorite out of the first wave. And I do think G3 Laguna lives up to that. She's another that doesn't match her art very well, and admittedly, I do like the colors that are in the art and her animation rendered a little better, but I like what we got as a doll too. I'm not complaining that much. I think the ombre effect in her legs is really cool. I love the different colors in her hair, just the overall vibe of her outfit. It has so much personality and it really sets her apart. I think more than anyone, I'm just really excited to see her in the animated series and to learn more about her. I like that they included a little swimsuit for her, but I do wish, color-wise, that it matched her outfit a little better. At least the shorts, because if it matched better, it would be cute to have her in the swimsuit tucked into the shorts as another outfit possibility, and you know, a nice callback to her G1 doll. I also think her backpack is just a little boring. I think as another cool callback to her G1 doll, it would have been so cute to have a backpack that she could fit Neptuna into. Like, one of those bubble backpacks that people carry cats around in. Because poor Neptuna is just kind of just sitting out here. She needs water. But these are just things that I would have done. They're not really complaints. Overall, I think Laguna is great. They did a great job with her. She's not number one only because these next two dolls are so great that it just wouldn't feel right putting them any lower. And I'm going to give the number 2 spot to Draculaura, who here in G3 looks absolutely amazing. They've gone in such a good direction with her. I love the split dye. Her face might be my favorite of all of them. It's so precious. I love that her outfit is like the Monster High version of that one Clueless outfit that keeps getting more and more dolls referencing it. Not a bad thing. All her pieces look great, nice quality, and a lot of mixing and matching potential too. Maybe more than anyone else. They just really went all out with her, and it shows. I do think the shoes are a bit simple, but I think that's something I'm just gonna have to learn to get used to. But overall, I think they just hit it out of the park with Draculaura. Her design is cute, it's clever, it's a little bit campy, but in the way I've come to expect and love from Monster High. I also love that she's a lot shorter and has a slightly larger body type. I mean, I liked the stylized proportions of G1 Monster High dolls, personally, but I can see where the criticisms come from. And just speaking in today's market and today's world, it makes a lot more sense to be representative of different body types. Even just speaking on beauty standards, you know, almost every doll on the market now has a fuller figure compared to what was popular in the late 2000s, early 2010s. So I'm happy to see Monster High following suit. I know Draculaura is getting a bit of a drastic personality change in G3. She seems like she's a bit more sarcastic and more of a perfectionist, and there's also the whole thing with her knowing witchcraft, which again seems to be very divisive. But personally, I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. She had some of my most favorite dolls in G1. She was one of my favorite characters, and I definitely do see that trend continuing into G3. So now we're at the number 1 spot, and if you've been following along, we all know who it is. It's Frankie Stein, which surprised me a little bit. Frankie had a lot of really great dolls in G1, but they were rarely my favorites in any given line. This doll, however, is fantastic. I think it takes everything that I loved about my favorite Frankie dolls from G1. You know, think School's Out, Picture Day, Classroom. They take those elements, elevate them, and put them together into what is just a perfect evolution for Frankie's character in this new generation. I love that they've dialed the preppy fashion up to 11. The pieces all look so great. The jacket fits with the outfit so well, and they look so good wearing it. Everything looks pretty well made, and like Draculaura, once we get a few more dolls, it opens up a lot of options for restyling and mixing and matching. The color scheme is just really cool, and honestly, I have nothing bad to say about them. I love that we're getting non-binary representation in fashion dolls, disability representation. Their prosthetic leg is such an amazing detail. And I put Frankie here at the number 1 spot, not just because I think they're a fantastic doll, which they are, but also because I think they really represent everything that I love about Monster High. They represent fun and clever character design. They represent inclusivity. And I think this is very much going to be a those who get it will get it kind of situation for a while, because a lot of people just aren't going to see past the fact that they're different from G1. And I'm speaking generally, not just about Frankie, but they're not going to get past the fact that the brand has changed, that it's evolved, that it's not what they remember. And that's fine. Obviously, you don't have to like it. You are under no obligation to give this corporate toy giant your hard-earned money. But if you loved G1 and you're willing to accept the fact that things change and you're open-minded, I think G3 has some great things in store for us. I really, really do. And I know there's some dolls I haven't mentioned yet, There's the 6-pack people found at Walmart. There's the Frankie and Deuce 2-pack. Other things still yet to come. And overall, I'm just as excited for those, but I'll talk about them more in general future new release videos. So, yeah, I think I've said everything I really wanted to about Monster High G3. So now it's your turn. Let me know your impressions of Monster High G3 down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Which dolls are your favorites? Do you want them all? Are you skipping out on some? Have you already bought some? Please, tell me all about it. The stores around me haven't gotten the memo yet, so I've yet to buy any, but soon. Hopefully soon. And when you're done with that, just be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Thank you.